old-fashioned way. All right, thank y'all for coming out to the Vape Hall of Fame. I'm Pablo with Vape Radio. Thank you guys for making this the best-dressed vape thing I've ever been to. Props to all of you. Not you, Michael. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for coming out and again supporting this. I think this is something that's going to be important for this industry as we go forward. You know, talking to somebody earlier, they were like, you know, this isn't one of those things you could have done 2 or 3 years into vape. You had to wait a while, had to see who are going to be the voices, who are going to be the people who got us to where we are, who are those people who are going to take us into the future. And this is about honoring those people. So without further ado, I want to turn it over to the host of National Vape Expo. You know him, you love him. Well, he is technically the host, so. All right, but we did most of the rock, man. You're in.
That guy. All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here tonight. A long time ago, we had an idea, and we thought it would be very important to get down and put this down in history, the people that were influential in this thing we call harm reduction, because I can see a future 20, 30 years from now where nobody smokes cigarettes, right? I mean, honestly. We need to remember how we got here and who the people that helped contribute along the way and led the fight, and that's what we're here to do tonight. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys for coming out tonight to make this a special night for everyone here, especially our inductees. I'd like to bring up Mr. Alex Clark. Oh. Come on down, Alex. You're the next contestant. He's got someone very special, our very first inductee tonight for the Vape Hall of Fame. We got a little short here, but we're good. All right, thank you. Are you proposing to me, Michael? I am. No, take it back. I don't want to do it. Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Clark from the side, everybody.
Thank you. I do this. I forgot my first joke, and it had something to do with making sure that I was wearing pants because I wasn't sure if
That's
there'd be
not
a
funny. I forgot my dress pants. I had to go buy new ones.
This is great. I'm already getting heckled. Thanks, Legion. So I'm here to introduce someone hopefully most of you know. Better would be all of you. Julie Wozner, or Wozner, or Wurzner, whichever works. She does respond to all of them. And I, in contemplating my remarks for this, I had a couple of things to say about Julie, but I figured probably the best way to start any tribute to someone else is to start talking about yourself. So first of all, in the interest of disclosures, my name is Alex Clark. I work for the Consumer Advocates for Smoke-Free Alternatives Association. My salary and travel expenses are paid for by an all-volunteer board of directors, and that is intended to let you know that Julie does in fact provide my salary, and so you should be suspicious of every nice thing I say about her from here on out.
Always will be.
So in all seriousness though, my introduction has a lot to do with my own story and vaping, and so you know I switched to vaping in 2013. At the time, I was managing a van rental company's office in the Meadowlands in New Jersey, and I was really excited about that job because it was very relaxed. It was a company basically run by artists and musicians, and we did a lot of touring bands in and out of New York City, so it was a lot of fun. It was very laid back, and I was very comfortable with the level of responsibility. And then I discovered vaping and immediately asked, I wonder what the laws are about using these products. And if you've heard my story, I apologize that you have to hear it again, but I looked up what the law was in New Jersey, and New Jersey had already banned vaping indoors everywhere, and they did it in 2010. And I said, this is going to be a huge fight. And so I started reading, listening, more reading, and eventually got involved with the Fight for Your Right to Vape Daily Action Plan, which was a rogue Twitter campaign firing off tweets at elected officials, trying to get them to understand that vaping was a good thing and that they should protect our access to it. I think I have like 3,000 followers on the Twitter account that I haven't used in a very long time, so at some point it got kind of popular, at least maybe with Russian bots, I'm not sure. We were doing that ragtag thing. I was also from time to time compiling lists of contact information for lawmakers, the old school calls to action. You know, please write down all this list of email addresses and write your own letter, and here's some talking points. Again, a lot more listening. Had a performance, had my audition in New Jersey at the Montclair University, before where I met Mark Anton. Sorry, Mark. Testified against the budget hearing, got the bug for going out in public and speaking up, and had gotten pretty comfortable with my level of participation. And then I got a call from Julie Wessner, or Worsner, and it was about an hour-long conversation about whether or not I wanted to join the board of directors. All the minute details. Thank you. And finally, at the end of this long conversation about my understanding of tobacco harm reduction and the fact that it's broader than vaping, and what I was interested in doing in terms of being involved. And Julie says, "Do you have any questions for me?" And I said, "Well, just one, and that is, if you're looking to put me on the board, what kind of organization are you running?" True story. And so I found out, because I work there now, and I love CASA, and I love everything that we stand for and are doing. And it's been 5 years, and Julie has been a guiding hand the entire time. I don't know whether or not I regret the fact that I understand grammar more and writing. It can be torturous to read things that are published in the newspaper, not because they're saying bad things about us, because they're written so horribly. Double spaces and commas and the like. But Julie has been a good friend and a mentor and an absolute bedrock pillar of this community. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Julie Wessner.
So, those of you who know me know that I'm a little bit of an introvert. I'm really happy behind the scenes, and I've got enough of the Midwest in me that I just don't like you to look at me too much, right? It's like, don't look at me. But I'm just so humbled, really. What a tremendous honor this is. And I'm uncomfortable because I know that every single thing that I've done has been done with the collaboration of CASA leadership. And so really, when you're honoring me, I hope you're honoring the organization that has really been the lifeblood. And so Alex likes to talk about himself. I like to talk about CASA. But I just kind of wanted to say, oh, wow. So this is my Apple Watch, and I wanted to know if I accidentally summoned it. Yes, I did. A lot of you guys are old guard, And you remember what it was like in the early days, and CASA has been around since 2009, and I look back on what we were and what we've become, and I am amazed. And it's because of the vision and leadership of some very dedicated volunteers who spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, and they're so intelligent, so passionate, and so consistent in their view of protecting consumer access and providing accurate information. So I'd like to thank the CASA leadership, and I'd also like to thank the community. And you know, in the early days, we were this tiny, Cheryl, where are you? Tiny. And the first vape event that I went to, it was not the first Vape Fest, it was the second one. It was Midwest Vape Fest. And we were so freaking excited. We had, I think the newspaper reported like almost 200 people. That was extraordinary. Do I lie? No. And the truth is, we didn't really have 200 people. It was much less than that, but it was still impressive. And to watch how the community has grown. And so I'd like to say thank you to all of you guys and the memberships. And so when we started CASA in 2009, I think after a year we had probably about 1,200 members. And today, what are we? 250,000. Yeah. That's pretty good. But thank you to all of you, because this is a group effort, and you guys have been steadfast, and I just so very much appreciate the extraordinary people that I've had the opportunity to work with and work for. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can you correct me? Go ahead.
Western. It is as if there is no O.
No O, the story of my life. Jesus. All right, anyway. It's like going after David G. You just can't follow it, right? All right, without further ado, again, thank you guys for being here. Again, this is so very important that we remember these people that have been doing this right for this industry for so long, so we don't forget. And just like with the story from CASA, going from less than 200 people at a vape meet to over 250,000 members, I mean, things are happening. This is changing the world, whether we realize it or not. And that's why it's very important that we recognize these people tonight. So again, I thank you guys for being here. The one, the only, Mr. Giant Vapes. The man, the myth, the legend. Yeah, I finally learned his name, Run Shay. I thought it was Run Shay. Okay. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Mike, the Giant.
So, I actually wrote mine down. So I apologize if I sound like a telemarketer. I'll try to read it so it doesn't sound like I'm reading it. But, so first off I have to say mahalo, everyone, mahalo. Some of you will get that. Anyway, thank you all for coming out tonight. First off, I am very honored to be presented with the opportunity to talk about the best e-liquid company on the planet, which is 5 Ponds. We got a beautiful They have, since the beginning, just done everything right. And they're the only company I know of that can say that. Apologies to everybody else. So, if you were to poll vapors and vape shop owners and ask them what e-liquid company exemplifies quality and class, unless they, have been vaping for less than a year, 6 months, and only know what a Juul is, then they would definitely say 5 Ponds without a doubt. I have no doubt. Since they began in 2012, they have approached the vape industry and e-liquid differently than anybody else. Despite the differences, their story starts kind of similar to a lot of other stories I'm sure you've heard before, and many of you probably share. Their founder, Mr. Rodney over here, CEO, friend of mine, fellow Red Sox fan, go Sox. No, really? Hey, we're the defending World Series champions. I just want to point that out real quick. So, anyway, he didn't like the flavors available on the market. You've heard the story, so he started making his own. Other people were like, "Hey, those are pretty good. You should, sell that shit." And so we did. But he used it as a tool to quit smoking, like pretty much everybody here, I would imagine. And quickly became passionate about it. He was mixing his own e-liquids. He drew inspiration from one of his own passions, which is fine food and wine. And from that point, that's where the similarities end. They immediately began to separate themselves from the pack at that point. Everything about Five Ponds is classy and professional. Their branding, interaction with the public, their operation, their lab, the flavors. For the record, Castle Long Reserve still top 3 all time for me. Not only that, Bowden's Mate was actually one of the flavors that helped me quit smoking. So thank you for that as well. And most importantly, they're people. 3 of whom are here representing them. We've got 3 of the OGs. We've got Grandpa Rodney, who I've heard requires apricots to stay regular. We have Vince, if you're not familiar with him, he's the one that looks like the child of Raleigh Fingers and Boy George. Sorry, Vince. No, I'm not. Last but not least, we've got Jay, who I once convinced that the word gullible is not in the dictionary. But joking aside, not just these 3 guys, the whole crew at Five Ponds, they're just amazing. They strive for nothing short of perfection in everything that they do in their business. I've had the privilege of working with them at Giant Vape since early 2013 when we first reached out to you guys to put an order in that I had shipped to my apartment. So, I mean, they were on Giant Vapes for launch. I've never once had a negative experience, and I don't know anybody that has. Every interaction with their salespeople, customer service, everything is pleasant, professional, and they're just as committed to their customers as they are to advocacy. And I truly appreciate that, and they're just as committed to the future of the industry. So if every company in our industry followed the same standards and practices as these guys, we would not face the negative public perception and the scrutiny from FDA, local government, etc. So I appreciate it. We all love you for it. You guys set the bar, and everybody should strive to be more like you guys. To now ask you guys to come on up so that I can present you with ring. There's 5 here. Do we get 5? Is Ryan get one for each finger?
Thank you, Mike.
He wasn't in the room.
Mike, just an honor to be introduced by you, Mike. And just to be here with you guys. We're a community, we started off as small businesses and grew a movement that is potentially going to offset the leading cause of preventable death. That's what we did in 2012, and Rodney started the company. It was about offsetting the leading cause of preventable death. We respected his father so much, lived like Charlie. He was a mentor to us. He was just a very wise businessman. And Rodney was a little skeptical to say, hey, Dad, I'm thinking about this business. It's electronic cigarettes. And it really didn't exist in a big way back then. And his dad said, Rodney, go fast and go really hard on this business because you could change the lives of people. And so he took the culinary expertise and the pinkies up, finger, the single malt Scotch wine mentality and said, there's going to be a customer for that, the complexity and the flavors. And he took it to a new level, and I'm honored to be part of the company from the get-go. And Vince, when he used Reddit as a way to get out to our users from the get-go, we really cherish the feedback we get from customers. And we get, we're pretentious guys from Orange County. Everyone thinks, oh, these guys charge so much money from the get-go. But luckily from Rodney, he really saw that this is going to be regulated. There's going to be rogue taxation. There's going to be things. We need to price this so we can absorb some of that for our customers. And like a clairvoyant, he really understood that we're going to face some major battles. Let's prepare now, and we'll have a sustainable growth. We don't need hockey stick growth. We just need sustainable growth to reach more people. And for that, I'm honored. I really appreciate you.
Hi, I just also wanted to say that this is incredibly humbling to be here, and I think that there's nobody more deserving of this stage tonight than the advocates. Julie, I think you look at David Wurlitz, you look at even what you guys are doing. Spreading the word and to the advocates, not just here today or at this show, but across the country that are battling for what I honestly believe is potentially the biggest impact on public health of anything seen in decades. And these people should be applauded more than anybody here because we're nothing compared to you. You're the real heroes. And to Mike, appreciate all the kind words that you said about our brand. We've been together since day one, and you are also so worthy of this induction because you have also upheld tobacco, and not just tobacco harm reduction, responsible tobacco harm reduction from day one. And I'm honored to call you a friend. And I thank you for everything that you do for this industry, and kudos. The last thing that I wanted to say is it feels good to be here, and again, accepting this is a great honor, and I say that because since August 8th, 2016, it seems as if the criminal has been rewarded and the ethical has been punished. And this seems tonight like we're being acknowledged for something that we haven't felt since 2018. So I think Jay said it best. I just wanted to say thank you again to NVE and Vape Radio guys, thank you so much for this. We're humble. We thank everybody for appreciating our efforts, and live like Charlie.
Thank you, guys. One more time for the Five Ponds crew. Not that much. They're not picking you up with any Castle on Reserve. Stop it. All right, we're going to go old school for our next inductee. We're not getting to the inductee. We're going to go real old school and bring out Mark Anton. Mark Anton.
Yeah, Mark.
We only roast the ones we love.
You know, I just want to go on the record and say in 5 ponds, you know, like when you have a good victory, you know what I mean? Like the first time Julie and I had coitus, it's afterwards 5 ponds. That's the gold stuff, man. Mark Anton, everybody.
Well, for me, it's truly a great pleasure and honor that I get to introduce this next inductee. And I first met him back at a New Jersey Vapor Retailer Coalition meeting back, probably 2014, 2015. And it was quite an eventful night. For those of you here who know Mike Moran, he's certainly a very calm individual, doesn't express himself very often. But that night, I watched it turn into a battle where people were cursing at each other and ready to walk out. And this is the first night I meet Dave Gorlitz, right? So I had no idea who the Winston Man was. I had no idea what type of individual he is and became. But since I've got to know Dave from that moment, it's been quite an education because I've learned he was an actor. I mean, come on, look at Dave. You really think he's an actor? Right? So I find out that he was a stunt man. He was in The Witness. He was, what was his name? Harrison Ford's stunt double. Does he look like Harrison? Come on now. Right? He was also a stunt double for Nick Nolte, and for those who ever watched MacGyver, Richard Dean Anderson. And he was also on All My Children in the soap opera. Now he gets to live one. So, when I was asked to do this, I really started to look at Dave's history and what he's done. And, you know, he came and spoke at a couple of Savada events and showed some videos of himself back in the late 80s, early 90s. And so I started to look at that a little bit deeper into what drove him to be so passionate. I mean, we're talking a man who's been fighting against smoking for over 30 years, for helping people change their lives. I mean, it's really an amazing thing going from being the Winston Man taking the brand to the #2 spot worldwide behind Marlboro. I mean, that pretty face over there is literally brought that company up across the world. I mean, most people would be really impressed with that as a career, right? Wouldn't you agree that you're a model, you actually affected a brand that much? But to Dave, it's much more. It's much different. It's a situation where, as he likes to say all the time, he was paid to lure, attract, and get young people to come and replace all the dying smokers. And that really is a bone of contention for him. But he went and fought. This man was honored by the American Cancer Society, the American Lung Association, the American Heart Association, the WHO, the World Health Organization, and to the point where he was their golden boy. He was literally what he is to us. The one who'll go out there and challenge big tobacco when we don't want to go there. We just want to protect our industry. We want to fight for what we're doing. But he actually takes it another step. He pushes, and he pushes, and he hates it when people are being disregarded, disrespected, and manipulated, lies. We've all heard it. We've heard it in every speech. But it resonates with him. If you just have the opportunity to talk with Dave, that's if he lets you. Right? And it's very true. This is twice today I get to go before you. Usually I'm after you, which if any of you have been in this business of advocacy, don't ever go after Dave. You might as well just go home. So, but some of the things that are very interesting, he's traveled around the world, but he's also been rejected by places in the world. India, they wouldn't let him in. Pissed him off. He challenged him. So much so that he was so disgusted with the World Health Organization, he actually, after being honored with the Medal of Honor, sent it back. And for that, my friend, I give you kudos. That's big cojones. So, and I'll let him tell you a little bit more about that in detail and where he told them to put it. But the issue is he's gone and spoke to schools around the country, different countries. He's been so active trying to get people not to smoke anymore, to quit smoking. And now we have a tool. Now we have a product that we're honoring 5 Pawns, and Julie, for all the work you do, and just to watch him fight for this industry, and to be as angry as he comes across. He's really a sweetheart. But the point is he is so passionate to help people quit smoking, because he's seen what smoking does. There's nothing good about it. It's enjoyable. Not as good as vape. But it's something that, for me, being the executive director of Safada, I keep at the forefront of my mind. Because that's what it's about. It is about helping smokers quit. It's about helping smokers transition. I know I'm the head of a trade association, so that really shouldn't be our mantle, but I don't know any other industry that, specifically this one, that can have it any other way if that's not at the forefront of what you're doing. Right? Because we're to help you, but you're to help them. So it all goes together, and really, frankly, I don't see how you can do it any other way. So what I'd like to do is really just take a moment and thank Dave for all he does, but I'd like to ask my friend and fellow advocate to join me on the stage as an inductee into the Vape Hall of Fame.
That is.
Looks like you won the Super Bowl.
Listen, this is very humbling. And I have to tell you, I'm like Julie Westner or Westner. Westner. I too am kind of introverted. Julie, I'm introverted. I'm shy. No, I'll tell you, I'm just going to share with you 2 things, because I'm not usually good with awards. I don't keep them too long. When people piss me off, I kind of like just send them back. And the poor woman who was running the World Health Organization at the time when I was awarded the World Health Organization Medal of Honor back in 1989, I had done something unique. And that was to quit smoking publicly. And no one had ever done that, Ron. You might have, because you're like me. Nobody quit smoking publicly, especially when you're being paid a lot of money to represent a product that kills more people than anything else. So I took a big shot. And I was just talking to RJ at dinner. He was telling me about his 11-year-old who was coming home from school, especially with all the vaping and the juuling and the teens, and he's involved, and his 11-year-old daughter, right? Very concerned about what her daddy does for a living, you know, because of the vaping negativity and the misinformation from the press. And If anybody saw A Billion Lives, you may have heard my story where my son was responsible for me, because when he was 11, he was coming home and saying, Dad, you're going to die like Uncle Bobby, aren't you? Because I was a 3-pack-a-day smoker. And that's the time when kids were being told in school that, your parents, if they smoked, they're child abusers, and secondhand smoke was killing people. And so I know what he's talking about. It's very hard to do something when you're being criticized, even by your own children. But the difference was, what RJ's daughter was trying to ask him about, he had answers for. He's trying to do something for the good of people. I wasn't. I was doing something that killed 400,000 people here, so I didn't have a lot of choice. I mean, it was cut and dry. So when I took the stand in 1988 on the Great American Smokeout, I was awarded, within 6 months, this World Health Organization medal. They took me down to Washington, and Surgeon General Seymour Coop awarded me this Medal of Honor, along with the then World Health Organization director. And I thought it was a nice badge of honor, because now I'm getting recognized for turning my back on a company that was killing people. And everything started to make sense back in 1988 and 89. And I quit smoking on the Great American Smokeout, and it lasted about a week. Then my dog got hit by a car. My neighbor called me up and said, your dog's dead in the road. So I went out and bought a pack of cigarettes. Somehow thinking my dog was going to come back, and I didn't. All I had was a dog that smelled like smoke. But yeah, I did. So what happened is I started cheating and quitting and cheating, and I was one of those statistics that you quit 20 times before you find any success, and it took me a long time. But I started going around the schools to admit my mistakes, and enticing and encouraging and luring kids to smoke, and I was trying to pay it forward, and I was trying to do some good things, and I didn't know how to do it. I mean, how do you go in front of 2,000 teenagers who are smoking, and at the time, about 50% of high school kids were smoking combustible tobacco. And I know that I didn't make them smoke, but I certainly was a catalyst in helping them decide that obviously smoking, if you're a guy, can make you macho, tough, rugged, robust, and virile, and all that garbage. So I did make a choice, and the choice was different from anybody else. But I believe that everybody in this room, Julie and Mike and RJ and Jay and Vince, we have a purpose. And I was asking RJ and Jay what they did before this, and I know what Julie was doing, and Mike, I'm not sure what you were doing, but I'm sure it was great, because that's what you are. You're a great human being. And all I was doing was selling cigarettes to kids. So I had to take a turn, and that was to put my life back on track, not only for my kids, but also for some of the people that I heard. So I started going around, doing school programs, and doing comedy programs, and being like the George Carlin, making a horse's ass of myself on stage, but that's what kids related to. So I learned very quickly that to get people's attention, you must be different to make a difference. Everybody here is different, and to be different, you must be able to make a difference because you are different. So I figured I have to be different, and I am. I'm about as unique as they come. My family still doesn't get me. They don't know what I do. I was telling people today, I get on a plane, somebody says, what do you do? I don't, what the hell you tell them? What do I do, Mark? I freaking don't know. I know that I'm trying to fight for smokers who are desperate to quit, and now they have a tool, and I see them being hurt because they're taking away a viable alternative for no reason other than greed and moral indignation. So it pisses me off. And then I try to get the people who don't understand vaping because people say, oh, it's as bad as smoking, So the media pisses me off. I'm pissed off. I'm always pissed off. I don't like that. I'm too old. I'm too old. And I'm trying to tell them not to like it. Don't be so pissed off. You're too young. But you're pissed off. And it's okay, like I said today. There's nothing wrong with a good dose of anger therapy if it's directed to the right people. And don't let people tell you, guys. We are in this together. Not one of us is any better than anybody else. It's kind of like death. None of us is going to get out of this alive, so get over yourself. Really. So if you cannot do this together, if you can't work together, we got a real problem. So I'm looking at an opportunity to do something different. And a couple years ago, I was blessed with doing a film called A Billion Lives with Aaron Beaver, who's here tonight. This poor guy, you know, if you saw a billion lives, you know that I'm pretty sincere about what I talk about. I'm pretty passionate. I'm very sensitive. I get upset very easily. But that's because I care. And Aaron gave me an opportunity, and I'm just going to tell you 2 seconds, guy. I promise I'd be done in 2 hours. Maybe. But Aaron called me and said, would you please be in my movie? And I said, yeah, okay, whatever. You know, because I'm tired of people asking me what I do, because I don't know Julie. I remember talking to Julie 10 years ago. And Elaine Keller and Mike Siegel, who was here today, doing the blog thing. I'm a technophobe. I hate computers. I send an email, I have to call people, see if they got it. I do. I swear, I'm not kidding. You're laughing, I'm not kidding. But I used to listen to her rant and rave on the rest of the story, and we'd comment, and we'd get Bill Gottschall, he pissed me off all the time too. And that pissed a lot of people off. But I started learning about this industry and what a viable alternative it was and all this misinformation. So I said, I got to get involved in this. So I did. And Julie yelled at me very early on because I became the president of the TV ECA for about a week. I was right. Yeah, the TV ECA. I replaced Matt Salmon, some congressman. I didn't know what I was doing. And then, within about a week, Ray pissed me off. I get pissed off easy. Especially when people lie to you. You know, when people lie to you and you know it, it just makes you angry. And I decided I was going to have an opportunity to tell my story. When Aaron Bieber came to my house, it was in a hot summer month. He called me when I was in Williamsburg, said, "You'd be in my movie." He said, "Okay." I said, "Okay, come on up." Came over, and the man asked me one question at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm still talking at 8 o'clock at night. Am I right, Aaron? So we had about 7 or 8 hours of footage. He didn't know how to extrapolate it for a movie. That's why I'm in the movie 30 minutes. Because he didn't know what to cut out. Because everything I said somehow had a connection to vaping, whether it be physically, whether it be morally, whether it be psychologically, because I was involved in the whole marketing scam of how we get replacement smokers. So with Mark Anton, who, thank you, did a very good job. How about a hand for Mark? I don't even know what to tell him what I do, because I don't know. But I am going to do something different, just to bring this to a close, because I am honored for doing this, and I told Aaron that, you know, if I didn't make it tonight, I've been sick, so if I didn't make it tonight, would he come up and accept this award from me? Because I gave Aaron a storyline about who I was for 8 hours. You're not going to have that tonight, but you all know who I am. I'm pretty passionate about what I do, and meeting people like, you know, Dr. Siegel today, and working with Julie and Alex, and seeing how they struggle every week or every day to get this information out there. We're just not forgotten, but we're vindicated by tonight, right, RJ? We're being vindicated because of what the heroes don't get. And I'm not saying we're heroes, but we're just people who are passionate. We know what we're doing. We try anyway. But like I said, I don't want 3% of the people doing 100% of the work. And we need to come together, and we need to come together fast and furiously. And talk about civil disobedience, yeah, I'm all for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I am all for it. There's nothing wrong with it, as long as it's directed at the right people. And unfortunately, for the last 2 years, we've been directing it internally. And as I said, that's got to cease. So I'm going to continue to do what I do. I'm working on a project now, just to I'm making the announcement tonight. I'm doing a mini documentary with Aaron Bieber, and we started filming last week. I have a friend who's here tonight who's sponsoring it for me, Arson Stepanian. Thank you very much for your support and your love for what you're doing, so I can get my story out there. Because I don't want to tell everybody I meet in an airport what I do. What do you do? I don't know. You got 6 hours? Not maybe I'll tell you. But I've got to continue to do what I do. So hopefully we can have people like RJ and Jay and Vince continue to do what they do. And Mike can continue what he does and his team. And Julie and Alex and what they do. And Greg Connolly. And everybody else. And Safada and Mark and April and Michelle. You guys have got to be able to have this free regulatory path available to you to go down and navigate through. And if somebody has to be the big mouth, Somebody has to be the one to stand up and to be heard, to get the media who's going to lie to you. They've been told to stand down at every beneficial news story about vaping to be beneficial. If we can't circumvent that, if we cannot get our legislators to understand why people like Matt Elliott and Matt Salter will get out there and do what they have to do to try to get the word to the public, we all need to be utilized. We all need to be taken care of together as a family. And I have to tell you that I am so pleased to be a part of the Pinnacle team because of the CBP factor. And I got a place here, I got a little skin in the game now, but I am pushing 70. So it's not that I'm running out of time, but I do have some health issues that I'm working on. And I'm not going to slow down. I'm just going to have to ask some of you to step up to the plate and carry some of this weight that all of us can't carry at one time. So you got to share this responsibility. Let me just thank you for making me a part of this fantastic evening, especially being in the group of the people that came before me, and Mike and RJ and Jay and Vince and Julie and Alex and Mark. You guys are great, and my plan is to continue to do what I do, tell my story, to try to enhance the quality of people's lives for as long as I can, and I'm going to ask you to stand there and support with me, shoulder to shoulder. Thank you very much for your time.
Industry that a lot of you may not even know. I can't tell you how many shows I've seen this man show up, you know, tired, blood clots in his leg, flying all over the country just to deliver a message as passionate and as fire as he delivered here tonight for you guys and like he did today. And he delivers every single time, every single show, getting people excited and activating them for advocacy all over this United States. That's why he's a Hall of Famer, everybody. The man that made this all possible, and I have to give him credit because this was just an idea Pablo and I talked about, and he's made it a reality.
No, Greg Troutman didn't want to come up here.
Oh, okay. Well, I think it's a crossbow free zone, so it's ladies and gentlemen, Michael Wittenberg, come on up.
So when I started this idea, you know, we talked about it, me, Ron, Pablo, we all talked about the Hall of Fame and what we're going to do to kind of put this together. So we also talked about, you know, who would be the right opening class, and you know, I know Julie obviously had to be first because she's been around forever and she's done what we had to do. Five Huns has always been in a class by themselves. Dave Gerlitz, well, he said a lot about himself, so we can move on. And then there was Mike. So Mike came up and I said, am I going to take a lot of shit for this, you know, because he's been my sponsor since day one, this, that, and the other. But, you know, this business is all about giving people chances. And when I announced Foxwoods 1 back in 2015, Mike called me up about 2-3 weeks later, and he said, do you still have the big sponsorship open? I said, well, to be honest with you, I got 2 companies fighting over it, and now you're late to the game. He goes, well, do you have a checkbook on you? I said, no, I have a checkbook. He goes, read off the numbers on the bottom. He said, well, I'll send you a contract. He said, no, then we'll deal with that later. I didn't know that not signing a contract was my death sentence, you know? So he would walk in, and we got to Foxwoods, and he would walk up and down the aisles with me. I said, Mike, you know, I produced adult conventions for 10 years, you know, so I didn't know, like, right, wrong, and different. Thanks, DJ. I didn't know right, wrong, and different, so he said, I'm telling you this is the best thing for the show. I said, all right, I guess. I mean, I'm not going to lose my biggest sponsor over cartoons, you know? So he said, we're going to walk around the show every day that it opens. You know, every day before opening, we're going to walk around the show, and I'm going to point out exactly what's right, what's wrong, what's indifferent. And he did that. And, you know, 4 years later, NVE is NVE, you know, and I always kind of thank Mike because Mike was the first person who gave me a shot. You know, everybody gave everybody else a shot in this building, but Mike, you know, helped the legitimacy of NVE, and I appreciate that. So, Mike, I don't know how many people know about Mike's story. Mike was a blogger, and he started off in the beginning, you know, blogging about e-liquid and whatnot. Now that's how Giant Vapes came up, and Giant Vapes became Giant Vapes and started putting, you know, keeping the post office in the local town of business, you know. So, you know, Mike, you know, will always hold, Mike and Giant will always hold a very, very special place, you know, because of what they've done, not only for the industry as #1 advocates, you know, but what they did for NVE. NVE wouldn't be, you know, 4 years strong right now without Mike. And I'll thank you. So, you know, in conclusion, make this short, you know, those walking arounds, you know, for the last 3 years, every show, you know, that paid off because now NVE is where NVE is, and, you know, it's because we kept our name the right way. You know, we did the right thing, and we didn't take the shortcuts, and we didn't take the money from the wrong people. And frankly, a lot of the reason was because I was scared of Mike. I mean, look at him. But it is my pleasure, you know, to introduce Mike Lynche as the final.
Small adjustment to that story. So I didn't even know about NVE because I don't look at Facebook anymore because it makes me want to kill myself. So I'm on it all day long. I have my inbox open on one of my 75 tabs that I keep open on my computer. But somebody, cool. So somebody reached out to me and was like, hey, there's a show in your backyard. And I was like, oh, great, just like the one that was up in Springfield that 4 people went to. And then they're like, no, this one looks like it might have a shot. The guy does shows. So I said, okay. So I took a look and I was like, oh, this could be cool. So I reached out to him and I said, hey, do you have the main sponsorship open? And he said, well, I've got 2 people that have a contract in hand that are ready to go on it. And I said, I'll send you a wire transfer right now. And he said, oh, yeah, okay. And then, the part he left out, though, is my good friend Keith from Diamond Vapor contacted me the next day and was like, dude, I'm supposed to be the main sponsor. Oh, man. Yeah, whoops, yep, that's Diamonds. I love you, Keith, if you see this video. Sorry about that. I know it's been a while. But anyway, so yeah, that was kind of funny. Keith and I are good. So, but anyway, I'm going to keep this short. I already talked to you guys a bunch already about 5 Plunds and some of my experiences. But first off, I want to thank you guys for coming out. This is super cool and supporting me. I really appreciate it. We're at a very critical point in this industry, as you all know. In fact, Dave kind of stole my thunder, so Mark, I now understand what you're talking about with having to follow this guy. There's a couple things that we have to do from this point on that we haven't been doing as well as we should, which is we need to work together and we need unity. We've got CASA, we've got VTA, we've got SFATA, we've got Vape Militia. It used to be a situation where it was, oh, we've got all these different organizations, I don't know who to give money to. It's not that bad anymore because everybody's kind of found a niche. But we all need to work together to attack those niches where we're strong. And that's going to require us to have better communications, have the leaders from the different organizations working more closely together. We're moving in the right direction. I'm confident that we'll get there. but we still have work to do. As you guys know, or you may not know, but I'm on the board at Safada now. I work closely with Mark. I'm also the secretary, which I'll just tell you how that happened real quick, because it's kind of a funny story. So I get on the board, and then that January, we're all in DC at our first board. Was it January, February? It doesn't matter. Beginning of last year, we're all at our board retreat. And like I do in every meeting, I pop out my laptop, taking notes the whole time. I'm like, well, we get to the part where we're voting for the board seats. And I get to the secretary, and everyone looks, and I'm sitting there typing on my computer, and I was like, oh, shit. So that's how I became secretary of Safada. I accepted warmly. I'm exceptional at writing meeting minutes. If any of you ever need meeting minutes taken, I've gotten it down pat at this point. But anyway, that's a quick aside. The other thing I just want to say real quick, this is something that I try to do personally, and I think everybody should try to do that's in the business, in the vape industry. Every decision that you make, before you make it, think, is this going to help people quit smoking? Because I feel like we're starting to come full circle. We forgot about that for a while. We've got our fights and we've got our advocacy crap and all of the bullshit that we have to deal with on a regular basis with the states and the federal government. But we've come a long way, I think, in the last couple of years with getting away from irresponsible branding and getting away from some of the stuff that makes us look really bad. And I think people are starting to make better decisions in general as organizations. But still, we need to think, is this going to help somebody quit smoking? And that's because that's the goal. That's what's going to keep us all in business. That's how this industry is going to grow. Because we've still got, how many million smokers? We got still 20 million smokers in the country?
Too many.
Too many. As long as that number isn't zero, it's too many. That's what we should be fighting over. We're all fighting over the same pie. But we're fighting over this slice. We've got the whole rest of it. That's what we need to fight over. Go for those people. Get the smokers, convert the smokers, we'll all grow businesses, we'll all be successful. So that's it. Like I said, I'll keep it short. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. I'm very humble and honored. Thank you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up. Mike Orangey, everybody. How many companies has he been responsible for this industry for? Right? How many people? Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to conclude real quick. I want to thank Michael for putting this thing on. There's a lot of people in this industry. I'm telling you guys, we're all on the same team, and that's why it's important for us all to work together. And tonight's been really special for us to see you guys come here and salute these people that deserve it. We spend so much time pointing out what's wrong in this industry. We need at least one night to go, you know what's right? This right here tonight was what's right with this industry, right? Don't forget this night. A lot of people, when we introduced this thing, went, what is this going to be? Just Pandora Blue and a bunch of vape? No. This is about the people that really deserved it, the people that have been leading this fight. Do not forget this night. We're going to do it again next year, and we're going to induct the second Hall of Fame group, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out.